Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe and Ryan.
Hello, I'm Joe.
And I'm Ryan. This week, we are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about some spooky stuff. We got the Kushtaka coming up.
Yeah, which is really cool. Otherwise known as the Otterman of Alaska.
Which is petrifying. We got a picture here. It looks like a bad guy from Skyrim.
To me, yeah, like I'd say the same thing. Like it's a Dungeons and Dragons character where he's half otter, half man, all muscle, and all hunt. Hunt for the prey. Who's the deadliest prey? Man.
Dude, otters will kick your ass. Like they're cute and all that, but if they get pissed off, dude, like I heard of people getting fucked up by otters.
You've heard it. You've heard it here, guys.
That's right.
Watch out for otters.
Watch out for otters. And then we're going to be doing a little spoiler alert discussion for the new movie on Paramount Plus, Good Burger 2.
Yes, because we're that age, guys, where that is super nostalgic for us. We were kids when the first one came out, and we had to review the second one. And you know what? That's awesome. And then we have another rendition of, well, now they're dead, which is our segment where we say goodbye to our Hollywood/entertainment industry folks who are no longer with us. And even though the title of the segment seems a little crass, it's all meant for, in respect.
And since you know more about this than I do, but since the strike is over, now we've got a lot more entertainment development news coming up as well.
Yeah, and also things will change quickly. You know what I mean? It's just that's kind of how it's happening. New contracts are negotiated, and timelines for when movies come out changes because basically everybody in Hollywood, no matter what you're doing, I shouldn't say no matter what you're doing, but for the most part, it is a gig-based thing. So if as a screenwriter, I would sell a script, it would take me, a month or whatever it was. And after that, I have to sell another script. And it's same for everybody. If you work as a PA or something on a film, you're going to work for a while. And then when that film's over, you're going to have to look for another job. So since the strike happened, it threw everyone's schedules out of whack because you try to line up jobs so you don't ever have to really be looking for work. So if something like that happens where a show runs longer than you think, or, some other thing, it can mess up the entire schedule. So a lot of shuffling around is going to happen as far as actors and directors and any projects and release dates. So strap in.
Dude, I'm ready. I'm ready to begin some spooky stuff.
All right, well, before we begin, I'd like to tell all our new listeners that here at Earthling Entertainment, what we do is a little bit of the spooky, which could be aliens or hauntings or some other urban legend or cryptozoology.
Scary shit.
Scary stuff. And then we also like to focus on the entertainment industry, which is why we are Earthling Entertainment.
See what we did there?
I know. You know what? I did find out, though, that Earthling Entertainment is just the best name ever.
It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm quite proud of it. We thought of it together as a team.
Yeah, which is good. And what can you say? Sometimes you're trying to come up with a thing that tells everyone exactly what you're about, and I think we nailed it.
And we don't even it's funny, like I feel like we should crack down and do some more UFO reports because that was one of the things that we clicked together on when we did the podcast is like him and I, we just always talk about aliens and extraterrestrials. But since we've started spooky stuff and Joe's been really diving into the lore of the world of monsters, it's been pretty fucking crazy. So
honestly, that's just kind of what happened and we fell into it. You're right, though. We're going to focus more on aliens in a bit. Maybe we'll cover just particular alien species. We can cover the Greys. We can cover the reptilians. Mm-hmm. The issue is, there is a lot of information, and a lot of it is contradictory.
We could do a whole episode on the moon.
I mean, that's true. That's true. And you know what? We'll get there. See, the great thing about this being a relatively new podcast is we have plenty to go. I mean, we do a show a week, bud. So we're going to get into some stuff. So, and that's another thing, guys. Sometimes our spooky stuff is a little bit of a short, and sometimes it's like half the episode. It really depends on what we're diving into.
And please, if there's something you want us to cover, we'll do it. So just make sure to message us on Facebook or on Instagram.
The easiest way would be direct message on Facebook or Instagram is the best way because I would say the email address is checked not as often as those pages.
We made it as a formality because you need one, and it's just like, well,
it'll probably become way more useful in the future as we move forward. But as of right now, not as much.
Yeah, fuck email.
All right, guys. So we're gonna jump into our first segment, which we've already told you is called Spooky Stuff.
Spooky stuff.
Spooky Stuff.
The Kushtaka.
Everyone knows the story of the Bermuda Triangle, but you might not know about the Alaskan Triangle. On average, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in Alaska. The Los Angeles Times reported this in 2005.
Yeah, that's horrifying, right? I mean, I guess just don't visit Alaska, but it makes sense. Big tundra,
What a horrific place to get lost in.
I mean, I imagine you would die very quickly if you just lose your way and you're not familiar with the territory. I mean, people who live there, I'm sure they'll have survival skills for that area. But if you're just a tourist and you're like, oh man, my group left me behind and I was going to hang out on this glacier and oh shit.
Here, take this pair of extra gloves. My hands are starting to sweat.
Right?
Since 1988, over 16,000 folks have disappeared in this area, never to be found. So even if there's nothing supernatural going on, it's easy to get lost in the Alaskan wilderness.
Yeah, which was our exact point.
This mysterious region runs from Anchorage in the south to Juneau in the southeast panhandle to Burrow, a small town on the state's northern coast. The Tlingit tribe who live in Juneau have their own explanation for the high number of missing people. Evil spirits called the Kushtaka.
The Kushtaka!
Some believe a swirling energy vortex, a portal to another dimension, occupies the Alaska Triangle. Entities from other worlds travel through this portal into the Alaskan wilderness and take lost people back with them. This would explain why investigators never find remains.
I mean, that's a good point, right? Because how many scavengers, it's not the desert where you got vultures that are going to pick you clean, right? I guess you might get buried by snow, but, are polar bears cleaning up these bodies? No. Magical portal into another universe where there are otter people who live there. I believe it. I believe it, Ryan.
You would be well preserved.
Let's go to the Otter universe.
Yes, quite. They're
Be,
quite cute.
Yes. The Otter universe is wonderful. They hold hands and float on their backs. It's a beautiful little story.
So they don't float away. They love each other, and then they come and rip your face off.
Otter people.
And eat your soul.
Yeah, fair enough.
According to books, such as In Search of the Kushtaka, Alaska's other Bigfoot. The other Bigfoot.
The other white meat.
The Kushtaka are...
I don't know. Hold on. If you were to eat an otter, would it be white meat or would it be dark meat? I imagine, in my head, it'd be dark meat. I feel like mammals are dark meat, right? And birds are white meat. But then, is pig dark meat? Because that's kind of white.
No, that's the other white meat, right?
I don't know. This is blowing my mind. All right, that's it. We got to track down...
terrible meat eaters.
We got to track down an exotic game person and eat otter.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, I'd feel kind of bad. I don't know. I can't eat something that's adorable.
Perhaps if it was really sick, if it was...
if it was at the end of its life...
Putting it out of its misery.
It truly didn't want to go on.
I do not know why we become British this episode, but I'm rolling with it.
I guarantee any British listener would be telling us we did not.
We fucking suck. Like, I get told by foreign people, like, whenever I try to do, like, a British thing, they're like, why do you sound Irish?
Well, you know what you tell them is you're like, look, man, we grew up with The Simpsons, so our idea of other countries' accents are clearly screwed up.
Tragically skewed. The Kushtaka are mythical creatures found in the stories of the Tlingit and the Tsimshian Indians of southeastern Alaska. Loosely translated, Kushtaka means the Otter-Man.
The Otterman.
Physically, Kushtaka are shapeshifters capable of assuming either human form or the form of an otter. It is also said that the Kushtaka emit a high-pitched 3-part whistle in the pattern of low, high, low. It may hunt
That's
you.
strangely specific.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a haiku of high-pitched screams.
I can't whistle, I guess. Thank you. Yeah. So it's almost like isn't that a boat? Don't boats do that whistle? So is someone just hearing a boat be like, it's fucking Otter-Man?
I guess it depends on how long that particular part of the story goes back.
That reminds me of that was from Star Trek.
What was?
That was
that call sign?
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Totally was in the original. Anyways, it may hunt you while taking the form of a powerful sea otter, or it may take the shape of a man and convince you to follow it into the woods. No matter what, a face-to-face encounter with a Kushtaka seldom ends well. These mysterious beasts of indigenous Alaskan Tlingit lore are said to look very similar to sea otters, but to be especially cunning and mischievous.
I like the word mischievous. You know, any mystical creature or villain who's mischievous, you're like, he's doing it, and he kind of having fun doing it.
I like the sentence, indigenous Alaskan Tlingit lore. Go ahead and say that 10 times fast if you could.
Indigenous Alaskan Tlingit lore. Indigenous Alaskan Tlingit lore. Yeah, it's going to be a thing. Yeah,
it's hard. Terrifying picture. It looks like a mutated polar bear.
Kinda, yeah. It's got like a flatter face. I mean, I guess an otter face, but the photo we have, the photo reference, which I'm sure is just an artist rendition, is like he said,
it's
albino.
A real picture.
Yeah, it's
a real fucking picture,
they
Joe.
Took it. Those Inuits got cameras and they're taking pictures.
The dude who took this picture is dead. We found it.
We found it.
In some stories, Kushtaka are cruel creatures who take delight in tricking poor Tlingit sailors to their deaths. In some legends, it is said they will imitate the cries of a baby or the screams of a woman to lure victims to the river.
Yeah, that's horrifying, and it would totally work.
Yeah.
If I hear a baby and I think it's on the edge of a river, there's no way I'm not running for it.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
A random woman, I think I would also try to save, but I feel like a baby, instinctually, you're like, well, I can't be responsible for baby death.
And just hearing, like, yeah, a kid or a baby, like, either way, like, screaming in the middle of nowhere, like, you're going to go investigate because you got to help, but you're going to be absolutely peeing your pants the entire time. I know I would.
Okay, that's fair, because anything that preys on children is, okay, you're it. Thanks, Stephen King.
Dude, there's so many stories like that, like The Outsider and shit like that. Ugh, fucked up.
Ugh.
Okay.
Did you lose your spot?
I lost my spot. I'm going to get back, and it is right here. Once an unlikely individual is caught in their trap, the Kushtaka consume the souls of their victims, often turning their prey into Kushtaka in the process.
You know, that's always a common theme, right? Like werewolves could turn you into a werewolf, vampire could turn you into a vampire. I think it's all just a metaphor for corruption. You know what I mean?
I like that. That's pretty deep, Joe. In others, they are friendly and helpful, frequently saving the lost from death by freezing. In many stories, the Kushtaka save the lost individual by distracting them with curiously otter-like illusions of their family and friends as they transform their subject into a fellow Kushtaka, thus allowing him to survive the cold. Naturally, this is considered a mixed bag.
Right, because you're still getting turned into a Kushtaka, like the bad version. So I kind of feel like it's the same story, but you have one guy being like, I want to be a Kushtaka, and the other one being like, I don't. But here's the real thing. What are otter-like visions of your friends and family? Are they like, hold on, I'm having this whole like sitcom idea with like my wife as an otter and me as an otter.
That's
right?
where my brain
my
went
baby
to.
otter. Like,
yes.
It's like, we are otter people living our life and going about our business. She works, he cleans, he is a baby, and they all hang out. It's Otter Wakefield.
Otter Wakefield. I'd watch it.
Dude, I mean, that would, and then by the time it's done, and you can't stop listening, right? You're like, wow, this is a really weird sitcom. Like, what is this? And then by the time it's all over, you've turned into an otter person. And then you're like, well, shit. I mean, that is the perfect distraction because, like, what the hell? I can't look away.
So, I mean, you just got to give it a test run at that point and then decide it's like, well, you know, this is actually pretty sweet. I'm going to go turn my family into one, too.
Well, thank God.
Then you can be with them forever.
Exactly. You just take them through the portal into the otter dimension.
I honestly, like I said, as long as it doesn't suck that bad, like, you know.
But like we said, both of the bad and the like, one is like it'll swallow your soul and turn you into a Kushtaka, and then the other one's like it'll save you from freezing and turn you into a Kushtaka. If you ask me, that's the same goddamn thing.
It's like you like look down at your paws and you look up at it and it just comes and just gives you a warm hug. Like it's okay.
We're friends now, bro.
We're family now.
We're family now. One of us. One of us.
Legends have it Kushtaka can be warded off through copper, urine, and in some stories, fire.
Which is why I always carry a small squirt gun full of my own pee.
You never know.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, you could stop a crime with that because no matter what you're holding or what you're doing or what you're trying to do, you get pee on your face, you're going to stop and be like, dude, and wipe it off.
Well, I mean,
and that's all the time you need.
You got to give a warning, bro. You got to give a warning. You just got to be like, this is pee.
Depends on the scenario.
This is pee.
Hey, you Kushtaka, don't you? I got some pee. And I happen to have pennies. You just throw pennies at them. Back off! Pennies!
Like, dude, yeah,
you
to Alaska.
You whip out your penis, you start peeing, and you throw pennies.
Do you think there are people going to Alaska with like a Link-style satchel of pennies and a couple squirt guns of pee just in case?
You know what? Yes, I do. I feel like there are people, and you know what those people are? Those people are us, Ryan.
We got to send this episode to the Alaskan people. We want to know.
We want to know. Interested parties want to know. We are interesting parties as well.
Since the Kushtaka mainly preys on small children, it has been thought by some that it was used by the Tlingit mothers to keep their children from wandering close to the ocean by themselves. Well, that's just a terrible fucking idea.
Well, no, dude, that a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, like in Japan, they have this creature called the kappa, which is kind of like a turtle creature. It has a little bowl of water on its head, and if you spill that water, it'll dry up and die. Anyways, long story short, they were saying the same thing. They're like, this could just be because Japanese mothers were like, don't go near the river because you're going to get swept away and die. So there's a boogeyman. You know, it's the whole deterrent aspect of it.
Yeah, so just telling your kids that, like, yeah, don't go to the water. The Kushtaka will get you.
It's like some of these legends are so cool, and if they're based on truth, it's like awesome. But if they're not, you got to wonder if it's just like Greg pulling stuff out of his butt. Be like, don't go to the ocean. Why, Dad? There's like an otter guy. What? An otter guy? Yeah, you know, yeah. He's bad. He'll turn you into an. I could be turned into an otter. No, I mean, like, it's going to eat your soul. I mean, it'll take you to a different place. You'll never be able to come home. I get to go to an otter. Fuck.
Otters don't get tablets.
Oh. There you go.
That's how
solved the problem.
That's how you deter a child nowadays.
There's no screens in Otterland.
Yeah, like, okay.
Go to the Alaskan Triangle, become part of the otter species.
Otter Wakefields.
Or otherwise known as the Kushtaka. Kushtaka. All right, guys. Well, I'd say that's pretty good and all we need for spooky stuff this week. What do you think, bud?
Shikaka. So now moving on to the next part of Earthling Entertainment. We are going to be doing a spoiler discussion about the new movie Good Burger 2.
Good Burger 2.
Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
We swear to God, they're not paying. Actually, they really aren't.
They really aren't.
Yeah, we're just nostalgic.
Yeah.
So anybody who thinks this is a plug, it is, but it's by choice.
Yeah, we grew up on it, man. Like that. Like this came from all that. You know?
Yes, so I assume a lot of people who listen to this are around our age, so you know what all that is, but it's basically Saturday Night Live for kids in the 90s. I know they tried to bring it back recently, I don't know how well it did, but in the 90s, it was a sketch comedy with kids.
It was awesome.
And one of those segments was Good Burger, and Good Burger, much like Wayne's World or The Ladies' Man or Superstar from, SNL, branched out and became its own movie. And somewhere between 1995 and 1997, because I haven't looked it up, Good Burger came out, starring Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell.
And yeah, I wanted to mention that, and Kenan and Kel also saw success in their own show.
the Keenan and Kel show, which wasn't a spinoff of all that, but it was, let's say,
The partnership started it and all that.
yeah, I would say it was a spiritual spinoff, if that makes sense. I'm going to coin my own term. You've heard of spiritual sequels. Well, now, spiritual spinoff.
And I still can hear the, here it goes.
Doom, doom, doom.
Yeah.
It was Coolio. Coolio did the opening to that movie.
Coolio did the theme song for that. So Keenan and Kel was great. All that was great. And from that, we had gotten the movie that I like, as far as I was considered, I thought it was awesome when I was a kid. I loved that movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Good Burger too. So it takes where Ed is kind of our bumbling character, and he is, they make him look stupid. He's earnest. He's Larry the Cable Guy. I said it best the first time. He's our bumbling character. And then you have our other character, which is played by Kenan Thompson, and he is Dexter. And Dexter is more of like the smooth end. And in the first one, they're in high school. They meet because Dexter needs to get a summer job. They meet at Good Burger. Ed loves Good Burger. And they go on an adventure and to stop Mondo Burger from taking over the fast food franchise. Now, fast forward literally 23 years, and we get Good Burger 2 on Paramount+. It starts out where Dexter... I should say that this is a spoiler discussion, so if you don't want to know anything about Good Burger 2, skip to the next segment. But so Dexter is now an inventor, and it looks like he's not a very good one, and he becomes bankrupt in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And he's pissed off his friends and family, so he has no one to stay with except his old pal, which is Ed from Good Burger. So we meet Ed, and Ed still works at Good Burger. And at first, you're like, oh man, like how you're going to feel sorry for this character because you're like, he spent 23 years and he's still working at the fast food place. Like, Jesus Christ. But
he's like SpongeBob. He's so wholesome about it. He loves it.
He loves it. But then very quickly they show, no, he has like 10 kids. He has a really hot wife, which is a actress named Ego from SNL. And he owns Good Burger. So immediately, this is what I really liked about it. You didn't feel sorry for the character. You know what I mean, Ryan? It's
he like didn't consider himself rich. He considered himself rich because he loved his life, and he paid the employees well enough, because so he didn't make that much money, but he was obviously living a good life. He had a house. He had like you said, I think it was like wasn't it?
He had like 15 kids. I mean,
no,
realistically, it was like
5.
Yeah.
I think it was 5 kids, and the nanny was super hot, and then his wife was pretty hot.
Well, the nanny was Karma Electra, and
yes.
Karma Electra was in the first Good Burger, where Mondo Burger hired her to be a fake date for Ed to try to steal his secret sauce recipe.
That's right.
Well, in the sequel, Karma Electra is back as the same character, but now she's the nanny. And I just like that because they did that a few times in the movie where they brought back characters from the first one.
Yeah. Like they brought back a lot of people, and anyone they couldn't bring back, you saw their picture on the wall in like
Memoriam. Like the employee of the month Memoriam thing.
Yeah, like the old guy and stuff like that. No, it was a lot of good throwback there. The beginning of the movie for me was a little clunky, but once
you mean trying to get us there.
Yeah, trying to get us to get back into that mindset, and I wasn't feeling it until obviously they got together. So once Kenan and Kel, or what their character names were, Ed and
Dex
got together, it started to really roll, and it was really fun. And they had the best, Ed saying something stupid and him just being like, no, man. Like,
what are you doing? It's a good back and forth because that's always the balance. You know what I mean? You have one character that's a little bit more goofy and then you have the straight man. Even when I did my web series, it was Fuzz and Malloy, and Fuzz was the goofy character and then Malloy was the straight man. It's just, it's a good balance. You know what I mean?
And the kid who played his older son killed it.
He did.
He nailed it.
And to be honest, his older son was pretty much the only child who was in it for the most part. All his kids were in like one scene at the beginning and one scene at the end, but his son worked at Good Burger, and he did the voice and he talked real good.
Yeah,
and he acted real good.
He did it good.
Yeah, he like conjured the character that Kel Mitchell made, Ed. He
without
did a really
going
good job.
over the top. Yeah, like he kept it good, classy.
Well, exactly. And the tone of this movie is as goofy as the first one. So you have to realize that, you know what I mean? Like you have to take the world a little bit for granted, it's going to be a kid's show level of zaniness. And I think they pulled off a really good balance.
And I think the bad guys worked really well for this one too. It was well done. It was believable.
Yes, the bad guy in this one was Megacorp, and Megacorp there's a CEO who is the sister of the guy from the first movie who was the villain. So
yes.
the guy who was running Mondo Burger, his older sister, or our younger
'Cause
sister.
he
I'm
got
not sure how it
locked
works
up.
out. Yeah. But the sister is now Megacorp, and they basically try to buy out Good Burger from out under Ed. They trick him with a contract of not being read.
And it was kind of Dex's fault because Dex told him it was fine without reading it.
Yes, because once like we said, that character was destitute at the beginning of the film. So when we get to this point, he is smooth talked by a lawyer to be like, hey, man, talk him into selling the franchise because that's all we want to do. And, you'll get a bunch of money. And then it turned out that they just didn't read the contract and they accidentally sold the entire Good Burger thing to
They're still as oblivious.
Megacorp.
Yeah, they're still as oblivious as ever. Like, he's just like, oh, he said he's going to give me money, but he didn't see any proof,
he didn't
nothing.
look read the contract. Once again, that's what I mean by take stuff for granted. It is kind of the kids movie level of goofy.
Yeah, but it, like I said, I think they did it tastefully. The story was great. The back and forth, a lot of the jokes really hit for me. They did a lot. Like, they did one reference to All That, which was the opening sequence to All That was always this one guy with a clipboard running in being like, 5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes. And then
the show's going to start in 5 minutes.
Yep. And then something all crazy would happen. Then he would get blown up and it would be like a dummy flying across the stage.
Yeah. Like he'd walk off screen, you'd hear an explosion and they'd toss a dummy on set.
Which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But no,
also, I would say that also from All That, because Good Burger started as a sketch, they had this character who's played by Lori Beth Dimber.
Thank you.
And her name was Connie Mandoom. Connie Mandoom.
Gosh,
But
she was perfect.
well, she was in the sketch. She was in the first movie, and they brought her back for this one. Now, it's a very small part because that's all she had in the first movie and the sketch. She was just a customer who comes in, and she's like, hello, I would like to order, and then she laundry list of things, and Ed just can't
Put the onions
catch
on
up.
and then take them off because I like the essence of onions, but not the crunch.
Exactly. Great stuff, man.
And I always think, whenever I see her, I always think about her role in Dodgeball,
Right?
where you hear her off of the guy.
Yeah, that was a very, very small role, but yes.
I don't know why I always think of that scene. That scene's hilarious.
Well, there's another character named Fizz. And now Fizz, he didn't have a huge role in the first movie, but he was also a cast member of All That. His name's Josh Server.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, right? So in All That, he was Detective Dan, and he did a few other really good ones. And in this show, Good Burger, he just played an employee. And how we bring him into the sequel is amazing. Ryan, take it away.
They're in the walk-in freezer, right? And they're like, Ed's showing, all the stuff to Dex. And then he looks over, he goes, "What's this over here?" He's like, "Oh, that's another freezer." And he's like, "Oh, why can't
we haven't, I broke the handle when you still worked here, and we haven't, ever fixed it."
And Dex picks it up and he's like, "It looks like it just slides in." He puts it in, he opens the door, and there's that dude standing there frozen.
The character Fizz, played by Josh Server. And he's just like, oh man, how long has it been? Oh, my parents are going to be upset. I got to get home. I got to finish high school.
And then he sees the mirror as he walks by. He's like, "Look at that old man there." Like,
that old man is me. In real life, your life would be ruined. You're like, I'd be like, well, you've missed your whole life, sir.
But that was always his character, was just an airhead.
Huh, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, that was good, and I liked the ending. They sabotage, because the whole thing is she wants to automatize the whole entire process, so she can literally just open up Good Burgers around the world.
We're talking about the villain, because you kept saying she. Mondo Corp.
Yeah. Right, but the leader, the sister of the first bad guy, I forget her name in this one, but so she wants to automatize the whole industry. So she makes these robotic Eds so that she can still utilize his face as the face of Good Burger,
which is hilarious.
And so their whole thing is all we got to do is shut down the mainframe for the whole
the operating system that runs the robots,
right? And
the robot Eds.
So it comes down to Ed is the one who has to do it because everyone else gets busy in one way or another. Keenan has to go and save his niece.
By the way, the villain is Kat Braswell.
Thank you. And so it's up to Ed, and we don't see Ed actually do anything.
Yeah, when we walk in, he's playing a video game on the mainframe, and it looks like he's just messing around.
So there's the big grand opening. It looks like they failed. and then the Eds get red eyes
and go haywire.
and starts throwing shit at them. Like, here's your burger.
So yeah, their idea is they're going to destroy the robots are going to destroy the whole concept of franchising, and they're going to go under. Now, this is another reason why I said you have to take this for a grain of salt, because it's kid movie logic. Because destroying a company's reputation does not mean that suddenly the ownership of that company reverts back to you. So
I know that was a funny ending, because they were just like, all right, let's go help with the good burger.
Yeah, like oh man, we destroyed the bad guys, so now we got our good burger back. So in the movie, that makes sense. In real life, no, not at all.
No, not at all. But I laughed about that as well. I noticed that as well. But I'm like, yeah, it's a Nickelodeon movie. Don't look too much into it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Enjoy it. If you want to just have a little nostalgia, it's definitely a great watch.
I will say there is one really smart part. You can tell that they called in some favors. They were like, hey guys, will you just appear in this movie in a quick little thing? So we have a segment where Ed is like, maybe we can get a bunch of celebrities to sing a song about whether or not, to give Good Burger back. And then we do a cut of literally cell phone footage of all these celebrities. We have Zoe Saldana, Andy Samberg, Maya Rudolph, Bowen Yang, just so many. DMC was there.
They did
Sean White, Mikey Day, and one of the original cast members of all that. And he actually, I take that back. He was a cast member of all that, but he came later, and he was a main character in Pete and Pete. That's right. I'm talking about Danny Tamborelli. Love that guy.
Nice. And and they also had what was the other? The guy from Shark Tank.
Was in
it as well, like basically like helping them with their business and stuff.
Mark Cuban was in it. That's who you're talking about. He's from Shark Tank. Yeah, he was at the beginning when Dex was the inventor that everything goes wrong.
Yes.
Like Mark Cuban was like, I invested all my money in you, and you did this, and you suck. And then he shows up again at the end, and he's like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, and then
Mark Cuban is not an actor, so forgive him for he did a fun cameo.
He said like he'd do like $1 million for 10%, and he was and
they're like, how about 2 million for 0%?
I think it was like 8 million for 0, and he was like, you got a deal.
It's like, yeah,
which makes no sense.
Yeah, it's so goofy.
But it was great because I knew who he was immediately. I was like, okay, so no, it was good. A lot of the old, mix of the new. It was a good nostalgia throwback, good story. I thought that they killed it. I kind of felt bad for Kel. He sounded like his voice hurt. Like trying to do that voice again years later must have hurt.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Trying to talk like this the whole time.
But like we said, the son killed it because he mimicked that voice beautifully.
And like I said, it wasn't like too much either. Like he did it just enough. It was good. He almost did it better than Kel could do it now because he's just older. That has to hurt.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, you know what? I think that's it for our Good Burger spoiler discussion. How about you?
Yep. Like I said, I'd give it I would say 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Keep in mind, nostalgia comes into play a lot here. So, if you've never seen any of this that we've talked about, it probably won't do anything for you. But your kids will probably love it.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely this is for people like that. Yeah. Grew up on the old Nickelodeon stuff like that, as aforementioned.
Totally. All right, guys, we're moving on to our next segment, which is...
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Producer Marty Krofft dies at 86. Marty Krofft, who with his brother Sid produced memorable kids shows H.R. Pufnstuf and Land of the Lost, as well.
Land of the Lost.
As well as the 2009 feature based on the latter, has died.
Yeah, the one with Will Ferrell. He produced that one too.
Indeed. He was 86. Krofft died of kidney failure Saturday in Los Angeles, California. A family representative told Variety. Often referred to as the King of Saturday Mornings, Krofft and his brother also produced a number of primetime variety shows, including Donnie and Marie and Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters.
The Mandrell Sisters.
I don't know about those two, but I knew the first one.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Sid and Marty Krofft began their careers producing children's television with H.R. Pufnstuf a live-action program about a boy in a fantastic land with a dragon for a friend and a witchy poo, for an enemy. In 2007, TV Guide named H.R. Pufnstuf number 27 on its list of the top cult shows ever. Marty Krofft will be missed.
So yeah, one of the fun things about H&R Pufnstuf is it's notorious McDonald's. So McDonald's Playland, which they did, I believe, in the 70s and the 80s. But long story short, they got in trouble because they contacted H&R Pufnstuf and basically tried to hire them or something like that, get the rights, whatever. But they got in trouble because all of their McDonald's land characters, like, the hamburger, the guy with Mayor McCheese, that's what I'm thinking of. Mayor McCheese in general looks like H&R Pufnstuf. And, basically they got in trouble they got sued by H&R Pufnstuf because all the McDonald's land characters were ripoffs of it. And there is some connection.
I heard something about that, actually. Because I heard that's why you don't see a lot of those old characters anymore.
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny. I'll look more into that and give you guys the facts on a later episode. But interesting connection there. But anyways, Land of the Lost.
But they somehow got Grimace, the giant purple butt plug, back. I don't understand how that worked.
I don't know if those were around the same time. I think Grimace may have come later. Like I said, that's why we're going to do a deep dive on McDonald's one of these days. But
do you know what? Sorry to interrupt. Do you know what Grimace is supposed to be?
I don't really. I never thought about it, but I definitely know he's not a butt plug.
He's a taste bud.
Who told you that?
I heard that somewhere.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, you might be right. I have no contradictory information, so
I heard it somewhere, and it makes sense because what the hell else is he?
I don't know. I guess I just never thought about it, man. Like it's Grimace. It's kind of like Gumby. What the hell's Gumby? Well, he's green clay.
He's
okay.
Clay.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
He's a simple clay man.
I guess so.
Clay man.
Oh,
fighter. Sorry.
Anyways, so Marty Krofft, you will be missed, and thank you for Land of the Lost because I watched that when I was a kid. Now I know he was the guy who did the original, which was fun, and the movie, which was based off the original, but I don't know if he had anything to do with the the 90s version. I think it was syndicated on Nickelodeon, but I didn't think it came out on Nickelodeon. But there was a Land of the Lost I watched when I was a kid, and it was like they were driving in a car, a guy and his two kids, and they go through a portal because they got fall into the ground.
That's what I remember.
And then they had a friend who was like half monkey, and his name was Stinky, and yeah. So all of that is the ones that we grew up with, which was not the original and not the remake, but I guess the earlier remake.
You know what? Land of the Lost is such like a fever dream of a memory for me. It was so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't really put forth the effort in trying to watch it recently. That's for sure.
It's probably been since I was like 2.
2? I mean, I can't remember that far, man. I can't even fever dream from 2.
I have some weird memory. I got weird stoner memories, man. I don't understand it. It's weird.
well, I don't think you were stoned as a baby, so I don't know if we'd call them stoner memories, but I hear you.
Well, they come to me now.
Fair enough.
All right. I think it is time to move on to our next segment, which is
Earthling Entertainment Headlines.
Timothy Olyphant joins FX's Alien TV series. This comes to us from Deadline. Timothy Olyphant is reuniting with Noah Hawley and FX, signing on for a major role in the upcoming Alien series. Olyphant, who recurred on season 4 of Hawley's FX anthology series Fargo, is set to star opposite Sidney Chandler in Hawley's prequel to the Alien franchise, sources tell Deadline. Details about Olyphant's character are not being disclosed. I hear he plays Kirsch, a synth who acts as a mentor and trainer for Chandler's Wendy, who is a hybrid metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child, but the body of an adult.
I do think it's funny. Hold on, because we didn't edit this weird. It does say that we say there is no information and then immediately follow that with information.
Like I said, this is Deadline, so yeah, strap in. Deadline likes to do all of the bells and whistles.
Yeah, they're going to tell you every actor and everybody who sneezed on it, so that's a good thing.
And you got me reading names, so you already know what you're in for if you listen. Anyways, in addition to Chandler, Oliphant joins a main cast that, as Deadline reported, also includes Alex Lothar as a soldier named CJ, Samuel Blanken as Boy Cavalier, a CEO, as well as Essie Davis as Dame Sylvia, Adarsh Gaurav as Slightly, and Kit Young as Toodles.
Doodles.
Oh,
Wasn't he a
Toodles.
Lost Boy? I hope he's the same character. I want him to be that old man from Hook who lost his marbles, because that was Toodles.
There we go.
Do you remember him?
Yes. Well, I think this takes place before the original Aliens, so
I finally found my marbles.
we could say hypothetically that this is his origin story. That's right. Peter Pan tied into Alien. Anyways,
It's about damn time, if you ask me.
it's about fucking time. Executive produced by Ridley Scott. The new Alien series is set in a time period before Sigourney Weaver's Ripley and is the first story in the franchise that takes place on Earth, roughly 70 years in the future.
Yeah, but okay, so I have a few questions. If this is the prequel to those movies, we already have prequels. We already have Prometheus,
Right.
and we have Alien Covenant.
Yes.
So does this take place before Prometheus? And if it does, I have an issue, because how could it be an alien show when the aliens didn't even develop until Alien Covenant? So honestly, I feel like this is going to screw up the whole timeline.
It feels like, yeah, Prometheus should be considered first. The other one, though, that was the one with the ship with, spoiler alert, with the ship with all, like, they had all the embryos on it, and the synth gets it at the end. So I kind of felt like that one was more future-y, because...
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what you feel. The timeline is Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection.
Interesting. I wonder why they're leaving out the... That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. That's kind of my whole point, man.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you there. Okay, so production on the show began in Thailand July 19th, 4 days after the start of the actors' strike. Without SAG-AFTRA members, including Chandler, filming continued for more than a month with cast who were affiliated with the Equity British Trade Union.
Which I assume is their acting union, right? So we're going to see probably a lot of those characters have bigger roles than they may have originally had.
Yeah, lucky them. Production is slated to resume in early 2024, likely in January. I got some footage. Some of the first hour was shot before we had to shut down. It's stuff to play with and edit, Holly told Deadline recently. I'm excited to get back in there. All the scripts for Alien were completed before the WGA strike was called in May.
Yeah, so that makes sense. He's like, look, we got to record some stuff. We cut some stuff together, probably action scenes, because those are usually done with stunt doubles and stuff anyways. So you probably could get away with shooting most of an action scene without your main cast.
Well,
So, yeah.
definitely. And I mean, you could just do filler shots and stuff. There's plenty that you could do.
I mean, I don't know if ultimately it saves them as much money as they hope, but without halting production, it's got to save money.
I mean, yeah, it's like, well, we bought sandwiches.
It's like these sandwiches are going
Like,
to go bad if we don't give them to
Someone's
people.
got to eat the sandwiches, and we.
Good analogy, Ryan.
Like, that's where my brain goes to. It's like, well, shit. All right, moving on.
No, hold on.
Oh,
Was that the end of that one?
that was the end of that one.
All
yes.
right. So this just in, literally while we're recording this podcast, this
Ooh.
just came in. So
Breaking news.
breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. Fallout first look images show power armor and the ghoul and more. So images of the new Fallout series have just emerged. And let me tell you, I'm just basing this on my own personal opinion, but I will say that I think the power armor looks really, really good. And, anytime you can get a fully realized armor that is from a sci-fi show where they never meant to be in live action, it's impressive. I mean, what do you think, bud?
That looks amazing. Spot on. So this is all going to be the live action.
Yep, this is the Amazon show.
Yeah, we'll have to repost this because this is sweet.
Definitely. And if there's more of a story, we'll cover it on next week's episode. But because it'll be a whole week before we can do that, I definitely wanted to show, talk about it real quick.
My God, dude, the power armor is enormous.
Right?
Oh my God. Oh, it looks great. And I've spent so much time on Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4. I played the crap out of them.
Yeah, I really played Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, which I admit wasn't that good. I didn't get to the earlier games because I had a newer generation console. I don't play on PC, so I couldn't really go back and play some of these old games. Because the only way on PlayStation 4, now I have PlayStation 5, but the only way on PlayStation 4 you could play 3 or New Vegas was if you stream it, like with their subscription to stream. And I don't have good enough internet.
I was able
games.
to download it on Xbox years ago, so I've got all my old favorite old school games that I still play over and over again. Like I love Fallout 3. Every now and again, like I was just the other day, I was seriously contemplating firing up and maybe just doing
another
run.
campaign.
Just why? They're such good games. They were the best in my opinion.
Well,
Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
Well, I know New Vegas was your favorite, and a lot of people like New Vegas. A lot of people say that's the best Fallout game, which is funny because it's one of the ones that wasn't made by the original owner of the IP. Like they gave it to a different company to develop, basically.
And what was cool about it was Vegas had the opportunity to listen to the fans of 3, it being the same studio and everything, because it was all like the same kind of engine, and they were able to pump out another.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't the same studio,
right? And it had like better perks. It had certain things went faster.
I don't think you're listening to me.
No, I'm not.
I said it wasn't the same studio.
Oh, between Vegas and 3?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Wow, but they look the same. That's the thing, is the mechanics all seem exactly the same.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. They just farmed out the rights to make another game to a different company.
But I guess, like I was saying, the good thing about that little stretch there was they had the opportunity, I guess, with the same, console evolution or whatever at the time, they were able to pump out another really good game. And yet there's some bugs here and there in it. I'll admit, there's some things about New Vegas because there's just so much in this old ass game. But man, is it good.
It is good. And you know what? I mean, to be fair, the reason why I believe it's good is all the things Ryan has told me, and I've seen plenty of videos online, and I've even watched a few of the video game cut movies, and it is a great story. I like how you're the courier, and then, well, I don't want to give anything away if you want to play that game.
It's
but
such
also,
a good one.
They have Fallout 1 and 2, and it's like a look down, and it's an old school kind of like PC game. I've never played those. I don't know if I'd be able to get into them, but I'm very curious because a lot of the establishing lore came from those original games.
That's true. That would be interesting, maybe just to watch a playthrough of it. That way, at least you could see it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, anyways, that's it, guys, for the breaking news, and we're going back to our regular scheduled headlines.
All right, here we go. Black Mirror renewed for season 7 at Netflix. This also comes to us from Deadline. Strap yourselves in. Charlie Brooker's, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I'll go with that. It says Brooker. Yeah, Brooker.
Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror will return for a 7th season. Netflix has renewed this series, which wrapped its 6th season in June. Deadline has confirmed. The 6th season premiered 4 years after season 5. Wow, I didn't know it's been around that long.
Weird.
The darkly satirical anthology series, which is mostly set in near-future dystopias, has been through many iterations since it launched on the UK's Channel 4 in 2011, and the show has been given a budget boost when it was picked up by Netflix in 2016.
Yeah, I think they got less episodes though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see Bandersnatch?
I don't know.
Well, anyways, it's an episode of Black Mirror where it's like choose your own adventure. It's one of this weird thing they did of Netflix for a while where literally they give you options to pick.
Yeah, I remember I got caught in a loop and I think I turned it off.
Well, I mean, it's a good idea, but they're still learning how to execute it properly. There's a reason why that's not like a normal feature.
I did like that because I've always liked the choose your own scare books,
Yeah, me too. Mostly they had Goosebumps, but
yeah.
They came from the 1980s or 70s, and they actually were called Choose Your Own Adventure. Like it was a name brand, like Band-Aid and Kleenex.
And I love Peter in Family Guy. Like there was the one episode where he's reading one of those books, and he's like, go in the cave, or no, he's like, okay, I'll go in the cave. And
he
no, I flip back. I flip back.
Yeah, change your mind.
The 6th season soared to the top of Netflix's streaming top 10 in 92 countries when it premiered in June and spent 4 weeks in Netflix's global top 10's English-speaking TV. The 5-episode season featured cast including Selma Hayek, Annie Murphy.
Selma Hayek.
Thank you. Aaron Paul, Josh Hartnett,
Hartnett, excuse me.
Hartnett?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Papa Esidu.
Papa? Is it Papa? It's
But
P-A-A-P-A.
it's two A's, so that's why I thought maybe it's Papa? I don't know.
All right, no disrespect to that actor, but it is. I'm going to go with Papa.
There you go, Papa. The most discussed EP, Joan is Awful, followed a woman as her life is adapted into a streaming TV series, tapping into AI-related themes that felt prescient during the WGA and SAG-AFTRA negotiations.
Yeah, anything with AI is very topical nowadays. Yeah. So
it's.
I mean, Black Mirror. That is what they do. You know what? My wife told me is. Do you know what the Black Mirror is?
No.
It's your phone when it's off. Look at it. It's the Black Mirror.
I like it.
It's all about screens, and that's the point. Is their dystopian future the idea? And it's all tech based. Like each one of them is tech based.
And I actually had to stop watching. I was like binging him, and then I had to stop because honestly, a lot of it's really depressing, like really dark.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be in the mood, and it's almost boring for me. Like, I'm not a fan of Black Mirror, and here's why. And it doesn't hold my interest because you're watching it, and it's like no matter who it is or what the story is, you could just be like, well, this is going to end awful for everyone. Like, this is going to end horribly. Like, that person, they're in love, someone's going to die, or someone's going to cheat. Or like, oh, this is a perfect world, it's not reality. Or, oh, this great app, it's going to enslave humanity. Like, it's like, no matter what, it's always so damn dreary.
And that's where I don't like that I often hear it compared to Twilight Zone. I'm like, that's not true, because a lot of Twilight Zone episodes were actually really like uplifting and like taught you a lesson.
Yeah, well, some of them are uplifting, some of them are bad, some of them are scary, some of them are sci-fi, some of them are horror, and that's what I personally agree with you.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like the spectrum.
Variety. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you don't know what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
It's easy to subvert expectations if you're always changing your thing. You can't do that really with Black Mirror because it's all dark. I mean, I guess they can
if they
do
I
an
started
episode,
having nightmares and shit.
I'm just saying, if they do an episode where suddenly it ends with a happy ending, like it takes a left turn, but not to the dark, but to the happy, that would subvert expectations. I guess that's their only way.
And it's a different time, right? So they're trying their own thing. And I mean, obviously it's worked for them pretty good and everybody talks about it. Everyone knows Black Mirror.
It's true. But if you want a real anthology series, go and find anywhere where you find your podcasts and look up Tattered Tales.
Yes.
Tattered Tales is a wonderful audio drama series, and it's an anthology, and some are good, and some are bad, and some are scary, and some are awesome. And full disclosure, I make it with my buddies, which is Luke William, and he does a great job. He's the audio engineer, and my wife works on it, and Ryan's played a bunch of voices. Luke William, Luke Fisher is professional, his actual name. I'm not sure which one he wants me to mention, so I got it right and wrong no matter what one you go with.
Dream Team, baby.
Dream Team. All right, back to the last part of this article.
I was going to say
Black Mirror.
Yeah, just one last thing here. Series creator Brooker showruns and executive produces along with Annabelle Jones, the pair of whom founded Netflix-backed Black Mirror, Indie Broke, and Bones several years ago. Jessica Rhodes also executive produces. Variety was first to report news of the renewal. Max Goldbart contributed to this report. So there you go. Like I said, you gotta love that line.
I like how the last paragraph, they're like, we got to give props to all our sources.
Yep,
so nobody.
yep.
That's why we always say this comes to us from. No one can say that we're like reporting this without our due diligence. Is all I'm saying.
That's right. We're not copying. We're originals.
Sure. All right. Headline number 3.
All right. Scream 7 reportedly eyeing Neve Campbell return after recent upheaval.
All right, so for those of you who do not know, the last one was called Scream 6, and it took place in New York, and Neve Campbell's character did not show up. We found out that it was because basically they gave her an insulting offer as far as pay. She pretty much said, look, I've been in every one of these. I'm your Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm your fucking main girl here, and you're gonna at least pay me a respectable amount. Now, obviously, we don't know how much that was, but it seemed like, for being the leader of the franchise for as long as she was, that she deserved it. And so they said no, and she wasn't in it. But now the plot thickens for Scream 7, the sequel.
Scream 7 is reportedly heading back to the drawing board and may include Neve Campbell. This comes to us from IGN. According to Variety, the filmmakers are weighing up options following the high-profile exit of Scream 6 leads Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
This includes bringing back Neve Campbell as the iconic survivor Sidney Prescott, with producers reportedly keen to see her back in the role.
They have no choice. No, seriously. Jenna Ortega and this other girl, Melissa, they were the main characters. Like, so it basically rebooted in Scream 5 with new characters, and they did a really good job of tying them into the lore. Well, now they're gone. They're not coming back, and here's why.
Scream fans have watched in horror as Scream 7 collapsed before their eyes. Melissa Barrera was ousted from the Scream sequel by Spyglass Media Group following recent social media posts about the ongoing conflict in Gaza.
Which is, okay, look, guys, not a smart move to make comments about any huge controversial thing when you're in the public eye. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what side of this you fall on. Keep your mouth shut if you want to keep your job, if you work in the entertainment business.
Yeah, it's just not, sometimes, you gotta, I'm sorry, but you're a celebrity, and stuff there's stuff that comes with that package. You gotta watch what you're saying.
Yeah, because the controversy, like I said, it doesn't matter what side you're on. There is a whole big other side who does not agree with you. So just don't say anything.
You immediately cut your possible audience in half the moment you make any kind of political statement, like for real.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
All right. Lost my place.
Shortly after this, Jenna Ortega dropped out of the sequel to basically, they say it's scheduling conflicts. They say it was because of, they basically say it's because Wednesday season 2.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't believe it. I seriously think Jenna Ortega was like in solidarity with her co-stars. They were like, hey, they're firing you. I'm going to tell them that they're keeping you or I'm walking. And then they didn't keep her and she's walking. Now that is complete speculation because there is rumor that she already wanted out of the sequel.
So it makes her look good and she gets what she wants.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for helping me out there. Both Ortega and Barrera had only signed a 2-picture deal, and that was fulfilled by their starring roles in both Scream 5 and Scream 6. Now, it looks as though the plan is to return to previous leads to carry the franchise forward, and that starts with Neve Campbell. The iconic Scream star was there from the very beginning.
Obviously.
Starring in the first film as Sidney Prescott, and returning for every installment except Scream 6. Although Campbell chose not to return due to a salary dispute, it's now more likely than ever that the studio will be willing to stump up the cash to get her back.
Like I said, because you have no other choice. You've pretty much killed every other person in the franchise who could come back. There's a character played by Hayden Panettiere, and she could possibly come back. But like even then, she was in 4 and then 6. So it's not like, we get to a point where it's diluted so much, does it still count as wine? You know what I mean? When you keep putting water in the bottle to raise that level, well, now it doesn't really taste like anything.
I like that analogy a lot.
I mean, that's why you need to bring Sidney back. So yeah, they're gonna pay. Because your franchise, how many could you possibly do without an original character? I mean, it's tough because Scream, unlike these other slasher films, spoiler, Scream's villain is always someone different. It's a whodunit. It's a mystery of who's killing these people. Jason comes back repeatedly. Michael Myers comes back repeatedly. Freddy comes back repeatedly. But Ghostface is just a guy in a mask. So why is he coming back? If you want to tie it into your franchise, you need some connection to the lore. And they did a good job with the 5th one and these new characters that Jenna Ortega and that Melissa chick played. Great connection. But, without that, oh man, I mean, you could just it'd be basically a straight-to-video sequel. If you just get, like, all these people who had nothing to do with the franchise and just did a new whodunit, where a guy, let's say he's a copycat. Like, what happened was pretty cool, so now I'm going to be Ghostface, blah, 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 blah. This takes place in Delaware, and I'm after a girl named Peggy McGargle. Whatever. That movie is straight-to-video. That is not That's not what you want for your franchise. That is a trajectory that is only going to fail.
Agreed.
Sorry, I
got nothing.
Had a big.
That was a hell of a rant.
Well, the thing is, there's been so much news about Scream, and it's all been this week. First, the girl got fired. Then Jenna Ortega said, "I'm out," and now they're like, "We've always wanted to get Neve Campbell back." Oh, sure you did. Oh, sure you did.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because I swear I just saw a poster with like Jenna Ortega with like a knife, and it said like Scream.
Yes, but that was for Scream 5 or 6, I assume.
Oh, all right. I thought it said 7.
Well, with the AI art that's all on the internet, everyone could do. I mean, they make fake posters all the time, and then you get people posting them. It's like, you guys, did you know that Zendaya's going to be in the new Fern Gully movie?
I was just gonna say Fern Gully.
There is no Fern Gully movie.
That poster got me so bad.
You guys, here's the thing. If you see a poster for a movie that seems too good to be true, all you got to do is literally do a tiny bit of research. Go on IMDb, Google it. Okay, if a movie exists, that means someone was hired to write it. Someone was hired to direct it. If you just literally Google those basic questions and nothing comes up, spoiler, it's not real. Just saying.
I'm just over here singing the Hexus song in my head. Just ignore me.
Okay.
All right. Scream creator Kevin Williamson previously revealed that he wanted Campbell to return.
Yeah, I bet.
Scream 5 and 6 writers James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick are now said to be working on a new draft of the upcoming 7th installment. Whether this involves Campbell or not remains to be seen, but Variety also suggests that Patrick Dempsey would be a good candidate for a comeback. However, it's worth noting that neither Campbell nor Dempsey are in negotiations as of yet.
So Patrick Dempsey, I believe, I didn't look this up, but I believe he only was in one Scream movie, and it was Scream 3. And so, spoiler for Scream 3, he doesn't die.
Well, that would make sense that he can come back.
But it doesn't actually really matter because, like I said, that Hayden Panettiere character, once again, spoiler, dies in 4, and then in 6 shows up, lifts up her shirt, and she's like, "I died for 5 minutes, but I was okay."
Let's just go straight up ridiculous with the franchise on the next film. All the bad guys come back. Zombies.
Oh
Zombies happen, and they're like, "Oh my god, where did they bury blah blah?" And then you got like fucking you got Shaggy coming out of the grave.
Well, when you jump to like the supernatural, that actually does happen. To be fair, I think it was so I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which was Jennifer Love Hewitt. Then they made a third one, which was straight to DVD, and it came out in 2007. And it's I Always Know What You Did Last Summer, and that made our character supernatural. They did the same thing with the third installment for Urban Legends. The third installment for that film was called Urban Legends: Bloody Mary. Once again, we go from killer to ghost.
And Terrifier 2. I feel like they kind of turned him into something supernatural more than just a freak murderer in a costume.
Yeah, so it's not like you can't go that route, but I will say it does kind of tank your ship. Like, These are not, right now, Scream has always been in theaters. They've never had a straight-to-video sequel, and I feel like once you jump, that's where you get your straight-to-video sequel.
Yeah, once you're labeled as that, I'm sure it's really hard to get that sticker off.
Yeah, no one's going to take you seriously once you're a Redbox movie.
And even when you do, it's all sticky.
What?
You know, when you peel a sticker off,
yeah, you're still on the sticker analogy. Yep, yeah. No, totally.
It's just like you're just never as good as you were. Never as good.
Never. I like Scream. I like Scream the series. I like Neve Campbell. I would like to see her back because, I mean, you could even kill her and bring her back. You did it to Jamie Lee Curtis twice. Like, that character died and kept coming back. Great. Oh, those sequels didn't count. This is a new timeline. Whatever. You guys fucked up and you didn't know how to reverse.
I don't know. And I don't know. I always seem to fall off a lot of franchises like this. Like, I think I saw the first and second one. That's it.
Well, the problem with the whodunit is unless you love the genre, it's not as interesting the second time around because you know who the killer is. I mean, I'd say it's good one more time. So you're watching the film and it's a mystery the first time. Ooh, fun. Then the second time when you know the reveal, you can see all those little differences, all the little hints, and that's also fun. But I'd say after that, unless you're a diehard fan, you lose interest.
And I always found myself being confused on why can they keep finding all these people that are so pissed off at Sydney and her mom? And there's her mom was a whore.
Her mom certainly was. But that's the thing is, I don't want to talk too much about the newer films, but the focus is away from Sydney in 5 and 6, and they're, I would say, new characters. And so some of them are, Jamie Kennedy's character, Randy, in the first and second film. The two characters in the 5 and 6 are not the main characters, but two of the characters are his nieces and nephews. And then it's a big reveal who the main character of Scream 5 is, but also related to our original film.
Yeah, like I said, good on her for, winning her role back. I'm sure it'll be a good payoff for her.
It's all speculation right now, bud.
Yeah, well, I hope it happens because I know that's what the fans want.
As a fan, I agree. All right, guys. So here we are at our final headline. And if you're a big MCU fan, this might be some news that you want to hear, especially if you liked the new Loki series. Go ahead, bud.
I will say I did like the new Loki series, and I'm a fan of the Avengers of the MCU, so this really excites me. Loki creator to write Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. This comes to us from Nerdist. Recently, it was announced Destin Daniel Cretton would no longer direct Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. But now, we have more interesting news about the MCU film. According to Deadline, Loki creator Michael Waldron has come aboard to write the screenplay for Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. Waldron was already tapped to write the movie, set to follow Kang Dynasty Avengers, Secret Wars. And now he will be reportedly take hold of the story behind both films. Waldron also wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
We won't hold that against him.
And I like that movie.
I like that movie, but it should have been Doctor Strange in one alternate universe, which was kind of cool.
It was pretty key. Ultimately, if the two Avengers movies end up closely connected, it makes sense for Waldron to pen them both. After all, it seems to have worked for the MCU in previous. Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. That is a terrible name.
Hello.
I'm McFeely.
I'm McFeely.
He wrote both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame to great acclaim. We still don't know very much about either of the upcoming Avengers. I'm sorry, that's so funny. Avengers movies, though, not even specifically which heroes will feature as the new Avengers team that will protect the universe.
I mean, there's some pretty good speculation. Now, I don't think we're getting rid of all the old Avengers. I just think they're going to also be accompanied by the young ones they've been slowly introducing. So
Yeah.
we know Hawkeye, the girl, Kat, what's her name? Haley Steinfeld? She's most likely going to be in it.
I'm sure Paul Rudd will be Ant-Man.
Well, Paul Rudd will be Ant-Man, but it's going to be his Cassie Lang, his daughter, is definitely going to be a main character in it. We're talking about the new ones, bud, the new ones.
All right, well, I heard rumors
Amon
that they were...
Alani, the chick who plays Miss Marvel, who is great in the new film and great in her own series. Say what you want about the box office, that new Marvel's movie's awesome.
Yeah, and I don't know. I heard rumor that they were in talks of basically trying to get back a lot of old characters. So it'll probably be more like smaller roles they'll have. They'll be there, but
I don't know, because what they're saying now is contradictory to what they have been saying. So I think the deck is being shuffled. That's all I'm saying.
Quack quack. But of course,
we're gonna shuffle ducks.
Who stepped on a duck? But of course, it seems to follow that the Kang Dynasty would greatly feature Kang. Loki Season 2 seemed like it might set up the next MCU villain in a big way, but in the end, the series focused largely on its protagonist. There's no word yet on whether the changes and evolutions made to the team behind the Kang Dynasty will impact its story in any way.
I mean, you have to imagine it would, because all directors put in their 2 cents on a film. So even if there's an existing script, there's no way he doesn't have opinions and touches uppers.
As of now, no new director is in place for Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. However, the movie presently retains its release date of May 1st, 2026.
Yay! We're gonna wait forever.
It's only 2.5 years left. What do we do now? They will still be a part of the MCU's Phase 6 and help conclude the multiverse saga. Hopefully, with Waldron penning Kang Dynasty's script, the much-anticipated next Avengers movie will deliver a strong story. We've certainly seen him deliver great MCU work before, and I agree with that.
Yeah, totally. So, I'm excited. Like I said, it seems like they're shuffling the deck. So who knows what changes we'll make. And it's impossible unless you're working on the film. It's impossible to speculate on these kind of things because with every new MCU movie, it could potentially change. You know what I mean? Because the whole point is Kevin Feige is trying to serve a overall story. And, basically what's happening, for those of you who don't know, basically what's happening is each one of these films are in a different universe. Like, why did the Eternals have a giant guy come out and then no one's talked about it in any other movie? Guess what? Spoiler, that's not in the same universe. All of these multiverse things are going to crash into each other, and they're going to be called excursions or cataclysms. I forget. But they talked about it in Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. What happens when these two universes collide? They even further talk about it in the Marvels film. It's all about these collapsing universes that are going to end up to one planet, which is a new planet called Battle World. And Battle World is
that just
where
seems
all
like lazy writing.
Yeah, well, it's from the comics. So Battle World, which will probably be renamed, to be honest, is a story of secret wars. Long story short, they all fight. Everybody from the multiverse fights, and whoever's left standing is the new Marvel universe.
The Battletoads.
That's how we bring in X-Men. That's where we bring in all this stuff. Now, granted, most of this is speculation, but it's based on what happened in the comics and educated guests and what I know from the industry and what actors are working on what films. I'm not going to get into it, but I know people who work in payroll, and I am aware of certain cameos every now and again. You know what? Actually, I'm just saying things change all the time, and they can take, like, for instance, sometimes that John Krasinski is a good example. Characters put in reshoots. They'll be like a week before the film, they'll record someone, and suddenly he's in the movie. It's crazy. So yeah, here we go. I guess I'm done with that. I kind of rambled and lost my place. No,
you're fine. I was listening to you, buddy.
I know. Like I said, guys,
I was McFeeling it.
So, I didn't mention it on the podcast yet, but I thought I did because we started this recording and then stopped and then re-recorded because I was half asleep. My 8-month-old is teething, and he woke me up at 1:30, and me and my wife were up until 4:30. So we got no sleep.
The joys of parenting.
Yeah, so if I came off as a zombie at any point, or if I came off as like, too much energy, it's all because of that.
Kids, they're awful. I'm kidding.
I love those little disturbers of the peace.
Yep. Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
Because they're just the cute as the button, even though they scream at your face and it's like someday you want to throw them out the window, and then the other day you're like, Jesus, I would die for you. Well, not Jesus, but baby, I would die for you.
Next week, what do you think we're gonna be doing next week?
If you want, you mentioned we could focus on some alien stuff.
I would like to.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where we're at. We haven't done some aliens in a while, so I don't want to commit at this exact moment, but we'll do something alien oriented.
I liked your idea of kind of how we cover different monsters. Maybe we should go with different extraterrestrial species.
I think we ultimately will. Like I said, I'm not committing at this moment.
And maybe I might prepare a little something for next week to kind of give my 2 cents on the whole what's his name, David Frush or whatever, the guy who sat on Congress and did his whole
alien spiel,
whistleblower, moment. There's a lot of things about it that I liked, but there was a lot of things about it that I was kind of like,
Well, fine, man. If you take the time to prepare it, let's do it. Let's Earthling Entertainment this story. Like, come on, we got this.
I think that'll fit into headlines.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode, for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, you should check out some of our older episodes. And if you didn't, you should download all the episodes, because that's the way to show us. Download them. Yes. You sure showed us.
And make sure that you, if you like what we're doing and you like kind of a drama horror series kind of style thing, you should listen to Tattered Tales.
Tattered Tales. Thank you. And as far as this show is concerned, you hit us up on Facebook, our Facebook page. Hit us up on Instagram. We'd love to get your feedback. And, that's it. So for all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, so long.
Bye.
So long. I will see you soon. I love you. Thanks for listening. Hooray! Kushtaka. See you next week. Kushtaka.